It's all behavioral. We can zoom out a bit.
Yeah.
So we're looking at India, we're looking at China, we're looking at Japan, right? We're looking at Pakistan. I mean, we can look at these numbers in terms of population and think that these countries all operate the same. They don't. They don't develop technology the same. They don't have the same strategies in terms of how they take on the world with their technologies. They don't have the same rule sets when it comes to entrepreneurship. If you're an expat going into India and China trying to start a business versus if you're local, what type of technologies, service-based technologies or like back-end stuff. You have Japan, which 30% of their population is over the age of 65 by 2050. I mean, there's a lot that map isn't saying, right? Yeah. Where when you're looking at what does it mean in terms of the consumer, what type of consumer, from where, there's so many variables there that just aren't being told. We can't look at 1.3 billion and that be the same as 1.3 billion in China versus India. Like those are two different planets. Completely.
Yeah, so we can't look at just the top level numbers. We have to go to the
look at the demographics.
It's behavioral. Absolutely. I mean, Ethiopia, I think, was on there as like the second largest population in Africa. There's barely broadband connection. I'm half Ethiopian, by the way.
Right.
So like I'm like saying like, well, what is that telling us? That's not saying anything, right? Ethiopia 107 million.
I would like to see a map with just like middle class consumers, for example. That would be really interesting.
Yeah. That's something that we could look at and go on.
Because I mean, the numbers are now that they say by 2030, 2/3 of the world's middle class will live in Asia. You think about that, 2/3 in Asia. Yeah. I mean, that is just, that's the gravitational pull, isn't it now? That's the tipping point, really, isn't it? What will that mean? I mean, if we look at it from, let's say we saw that map in that context, what would that mean for entrepreneurs? 10 years. It is 10 years.
It all depends on the channels, right? It all depends on, I would say for entrepreneurs in Singapore, amazing, right? Yeah. If you're from outside of Asia and you move to Singapore and you start a business, great. If you're from outside of Asia and you move to Shanghai, good luck. If you've never been to Asia before and you go into India, good luck, right? Yeah. It just all depends, right? But if you're from, let's say, China and you start a business here, different, right? Yeah. Or if you're starting a business in China, there's also some challenges there. So there's so many angles that it's so tough to look at any of even the rising middle class.
I think the point around looking at behavior and demographics and I think that's really key as well. I mean, I like the map, but there's a lot of other layers that you got to look at. I mean, if you look at markets like India, China, and one of the fastest growing markets up to 2025 is Vietnam, right? If you look at these markets, I mean, they've got huge consumption. It's a great place if you've got a consumer-based tech business. You've got great opportunity to scale up.